Hi, everyone. This is Maria Lynn Johnson. How are you doing? We're here for another awesome interview with an expert on our Facebook group page, Speaking Mastery. Today we have Jason Jones with us. Yay! Jason's awesome. He's a business coach, and he's the owner of the Coaching Hour Live. And so we have him here to talk with us today. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I love being part of your group and your community.
Yeah, this is great to have you. So you're here, you're going to talk with us about what keeps people, solopreneurs and speakers, from hitting that elusive six-figure mark.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So why don't we start with, first of all, before we get into the juicy stuff, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you help people?
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16 years old. My reason for becoming an entrepreneur is because the girls wouldn't dance with me at the dance. And so I decided if I was the DJ on the stage that they'd probably be more interested in me. And so then I knew somebody with music and I knew somebody with gear. So I rented all that and I pulled it together and I became the DJ. And next thing I know, I was in a business that I actually put myself through college with. And the funny thing is it didn't do anything for my dating life, but it did I did fall in love with being an entrepreneur and being in my own business and that sort of thing. And so I've been a bit of a serial entrepreneur pretty much my whole life from then. If I wasn't working in radio or in media, I always had a side hustle going on. And then when I got out of that full time in 2003 is when it was about. Actually a little bit before that I got out of that doing that full time. Then I've been an entrepreneur full time ever since then, doing a lot of things in the entertainment industry.
That's the charge.
The charge?
Sound for you? Yes. Go ahead. You're on a roll.
Oh, okay. I was like, do I have to do something when that happens?
No, just start dancing.
So in the entertainment industry, so I've had a comedy variety show brand. I've had a business and event production that went really well. My most recent company that I had with a partner, that one grew really fast. That was in the special events industry, and we were doing coaching and training for performers and producers to really create events that were not predictable. I mean, you go to an event and generally okay, we're going to eat, and then there's going to be a program, and then I'm going to decide when I'm going to leave. With any kind of event, corporate event, you name it. And so what we started doing is actually putting narrative structure and using theatrical tools to really create, anticipation and surprise. Not like shocking surprise, like, oh my gosh, Elmer's having a heart attack, but like surprise in such a way like, I wasn't expecting this to happen. I wonder what's going to happen next. Because you have people in anticipation, then they don't want to leave because they don't want to miss something. The brain hates to be incomplete. And so we started training producers how to create events like that, to make conferences more sticky and to have people want to engage and have more memorable experiences with those type of experiences. And so in the 2.5 years that I had the company with them, we went international. We took it to the UK and Australia. It was just really, really great fun. So now I've sold off my interest in that, and I'm excited to recreate those results with the coaching hour.
Yeah, and I see you out and about, just doing a lot of things. You've got coaching sessions, webinars, training sessions, masterminds. You're just really busy and offering some really valuable stuff to people. You seem to really have a knack for building businesses, and so I'm excited to hear what you have to offer about building up a business.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun. It's we do at the coachinghour.com. There's always stuff going on. I try to have a workshop every couple of months, a workshop and a webinar every month. And there's the Coaching Hour Live event and all that stuff. And it's all just a community of people that want to get together. And have you ever been in a room where you go there, you go to a networking event and you're really excited because you're ready to meet the other entrepreneurs that are charged up and fired up about their businesses and putting in the late night oil and making it happen and all that. And then you talk to a few people and wonder, where are they? Right? You kind of like, oh, these are kind of Eeyores and kind of sad horses. Like, oh yeah, and I'm trying this, but I don't know if I'm into it. And and you wonder like, where are the fired up entrepreneurs? And so really trying to really create a community of like just motivated, excited people, passionate about what they're doing, and like they've got it, they have to do it. There is no plan B. And they're in it to win it. And this is really the the community that I'm really trying to create, because that's the kind of crowd that really gets me charged up and that really has me feel good about my work and what I'm doing. And when I have a bad day, it's like, yeah, let me remember what I'm committed to and why I'm doing this.
Yeah, and it matches your energy. I mean, you've got such great energy. Look at you go. And expertise in what you do. And so people that are around you, and I see this, people just, you draw them in and just light them up. So great energy. I love that. So let's dive into the good stuff. Why don't you start by telling us maybe what's the biggest mistake we entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, speakers make that keeps us from moving ahead with our revenue generation?
Sure. Well, I think across the board, whether you're a speaker or even a small business owner, and who I really specialize in is working with people who are one-person shops. The consultant or the entrepreneur that's doing it all themselves, and they're really planning on building that out. And I think the biggest mistake is that we go too broad. We're afraid to narrow our focus on an audience, and narrow in either narrow in on an audience or even narrow in on a topic. Like if you're a speaker, to kind of narrow your expertise so that you can identify what audiences are going to most resonate and be most interested and have that be the most urgent with, that they're going to want you to, oh yes, they want to hear you on that topic. Everybody I talk to, there's a huge fear around choosing a niche. And there's a lot of misunderstandings around exactly what a niche is. So fear number one is, if I choose a niche or choose a specific audience or a specific transaction that I do that has a strong appeal, then that's all I have to do, or that's all I get to do. I'll just do that over and over and over and over and over, and I have no variety in what I'm doing, and I want some variety. So the reason that that's a myth is to think of it more like this. Your niche is about your marketing resources. You only have so many marketing resources, whether that's in money, time, all of those things, right? Especially as a one-person operation, okay? So by narrowing your focus, you can become, you heard the expression, a small fish, you can be a big fish in a small pond. Well, your niche can be like your small pond where you can become known in. So I'll give you an example. Examples I like to use are chiropractors, because in Minnesota, there are more chiropractors than any other state in the union. I mean, this is like chiropractor crazy. I mean, you can't go down the street without tripping on a chiropractor, which is good because it might throw your back out and then they can fix you right there on the spot. So chiropractors, there's one chiropractor, he focuses his whole practice on people in karate. Now, that may sound really narrow, right? Yeah. Just people in karate? Well, how many people do you need to fill your practice and have a successful practice, right? And there's tons of different karate dojos, the whole community around that. Well, he's become really well known in that whole community, and recently, got a big bank loan to build a new building for his chiropractic office, right? Because he has this steady flow of people in this audience who also refer him outside of that, right? So they tell people they know, but he's known in that community, but it's all grown out of that. And so, that's just one example of one niche where he really focused in on that audience to get known in that audience.
Right. Now, that's a great example. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for speakers, can you give a similar example, say to a speaker, say I'm speaking health and wellness. What would be a great example of a niche that someone could move into for health and wellness?
Well, let me think about, so health and wellness, right? So recently I had a conversation about somebody who wanted to do some speaking and presenting, right? And, we're looking at really focusing in on, the audience was, companies' wellness programs. All right. Yeah. And attracting individual coaching clients and individual business from the audience of speaking to coming in and speaking to medium, large size companies, to their employees about their wellness efforts and really bringing topics that are relevant to them. So, being healthy. And so then it's about tailoring your message. So it's really going to fit and appeal to the objectives of those audiences, those HR departments who are really trying to how do we create a wellness program and you can can use the hook around like, well, maybe you can lower premiums by having, people participate in this and become, more aware of that. So the niche would be that you're focusing on companies in the area of, wellness, right? For a result that they want to produce. Now, that isn't as clear as the karate one. I grant you on that.
No, but it gives that same example where you want to pick. It's not just say health and wellness. I've seen different health and wellness examples on diet even. But I saw a great example of a woman who runs a business around that, who specializes just in the keto diet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very particular niche for women who, are in some sort of circumstance, but something very specific. And it almost becomes like a dog whistle.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're cutting out people, but by doing that, you have this flock of people who have that need come right to you because there's no one else that has that specific niche.
Well, yeah, and think about like people that are well known, those people that we admire. Like, what are they known for? And almost all of them are known for like one thing, like Seth Godin is like totally a marketing guy, right? But he writes about a bunch of different things, right? He has a whole slate of variety of interests. Now that he's a famous guy, it's like whatever you say is interesting. But he's known for his niche. He's known for that area. But as you become more known, then you can expand. You can expand because then that audience then grows and that interest grows in what you can do and offer. Tony Robbins, who used to be the very much like motivational speaker, personal motivation, and identifying like, kind of mindset shift, that sort of thing. His latest thing is all about finances and winning at finances.
Mm-hmm.
And money. He's got a book out on it. His whole big speech is on it. He's pushing on it. Like, when did he become a finance guy?
Right.
Because he chose to move that because he's become who he's become, and his audience is so large. Now he has more freedom to move, but it was all built out of a narrow focus. And he's still known as the motivational speaker, the quintessential motivational speaker. He'll get you motivated. He'll get you fired up, believing in yourself. That's still core, but now he has room to move around. So the moral of the story is you start really with a real narrow focus. So the only thing I would say with flip for speakers is that I would really look at like, what are you passionate about? What do you want to be known for? And then what audiences are most resonant with that? I was talking to one company owner that does these really great outdoor team building experiences. So take people on outdoor camping adventures, and now initially the core audience for that may not be General Mills. They may be like, oh, I don't know, take people out, take them camping, gosh, right? Because that's not necessarily totally in their wheelhouse. But you take a proposal like that to Patagonia, where they're like all about the outdoors, and that's part of their brand, and it's part of the lifestyle and what draws people to. Now you've got something, and it's like, so how many of these companies are really resonant with what you are crusading about and whatever you're speaking about, right?
Yeah.
You kind of start there and see what cues and what threads do they have in common as you build that niche out for yourself.
Right. And then, not only that, what they resonate with, but also the company, the client group, and pay for it.
Right. Yeah, because it has to be. So that leads me to number 2. All right. So, because we could talk about niching like in the whole
all right. So let's go on to number 2.
So, but what you bring up is a really good thing in terms of, so who's going to pay for it, right? So I would say, and this is not just for speakers, this is everybody. What we want to talk about all the time is like what we do and what we know, because we're all into what we do and what we know. But what the people that we're talking to really care about is what we do and what we know will do for them. So it's about practicing, like, what are the results that they're going to get? What are what are they going to get out of your presentation? What are people going to come away with, and how are they going to be different? How are they going to be changed in some way that's going to benefit the company and going to benefit them? So, a great way to look at that is to list what you think the takeaways would be from your presentation, the things that people will learn, and then ask yourself why 4 or 5 times on each of those.
Oh, that's a good one. And
then write down the why, do the hard work, do it in conversation with somebody or do it writing, however you like to do best, but really drill down to get that level of clarity so you're absolutely clear. Because if you can get yourself, this is why there's an industry of coaches, right? Because clarity is king. It's all about clarity. And when, like working with you on a presentation, a person's going to get really clear about their message, about their delivery. They're going to get that clarity. And then that rings through. That's what creates clarity for everybody else. And so when you really can really zero in and get really clear on the results that you produce and the difference you're going to make for that audience, that's going to make you much more attractive just by the virtue, not by how good the reasons are, but by the virtue of how clear you are and how that confidently resonates with the
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Again, you're clear. Let's talk about the marketing, the actual marketing. What's the best way? What are some approaches that we can look at, either social media or getting out and networking? How do we actually market that once we're clear on that?
Well, of course, that really depends on.
That's a big question. I know that's really broad.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay. So it depends on who you're marketing to as far as the choices that you're going to make in terms of how you're going to market, right? So I'd say if you're marketing to mid to large organizations, then you're going to want to identify like who are your key people, either advocates. Not every company the president is going to hire the speaker. And so you'll want to look at like if you're going to have someone in HR, let's go back to our health and wellness person, right? So who would probably be wanting to roll something like that out? That would probably be an initiative that may come from HR, or might be somebody in HR who may advocate, for example. I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of pulling this as a possibility of an example. So like, so then you'd be like, well, where can I network with other HR professionals? How can I connect in so that they're aware that this is available? Or there's a method of marketing called strategic pursuit, where basically you identify those individuals and decision makers that are the ones that you want to influence, and you just start reaching out to them in new and creative ways to invite them to engage in what you have to offer and look at what you can do for their company, and checking in and really just work those individuals and that sort of thing. I
like that strategic pursuit.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of persistence that you need to have around this. People give up too quickly.
Yeah, I was given a tip. I want to share this tip because this was just so terrific. This was given to me by Stevie Ray, who I'm sure you know. He's really a fantastic speaker. He's one of my mentors, and really just an outstanding performer. He started as a comedian, and he's developed into a businessman, and now he's like his comedy show's gone for like 26 years now. I think one of the longest running in the Twin Cities. Still going strong, and he speaks at companies all over the place. And he was talking about this technique that he was taught that in the area of strategic pursuit that is like really crazy effective, and it's this simple. So let's say you go to the Business Journal and you look in there and you see XYZ company there's been a merger and there's a change. And let's say your thing is like all about change management and having people cope with change. So then you write a handwritten note to that executive and say, hey, congratulations on the merger. Change can be really difficult. I think I may have some things that can really help you make this be a smooth transition. And I look forward to talking with you. I'm going to call you Wednesday at 2. And you put on there a time when you're going to call. And then you on Wednesday at 2, you make that phone ring and you call and you say, yes, I'm calling Chief President XYZ, and he's expecting my call. And he will or he won't take the call. Most of the time, they do take the call. When they take the call, it's important that you speak to them as a peer, not as someone trying to sell them or, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're so busy and you took my call. Wow. You're just as busy as they are. You're on an equal playing field. And it's like, hey, I understand you have this going on. And, and even if they're like, well, I already hired somebody to do this. It's like, all right, well, that's fine. If and when that does not work out for you, I'd like you to keep my number because this is something that I can help you with.
Mm-hmm. That's an awesome idea. I hope everybody got that. So you can look up information in different sources, contact that person, but then there's a key way to do it. The way you write the email, the way you follow up, the mindset you have when you're contacting them, being a peer. So do you see any areas there where people try that but usually miss, have some misstep along the way that you would say, watch out for this?
Well, the biggest, it's so funny. The biggest misstep is just not doing it, is not doing enough, right? It's like, because something like that really takes an enormous amount of courage and confidence in what you have to offer. And so it's really about, the first time that you do it, it's going to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. This is just welcome to life and business.
Right.
If you're not willing to just get comfortable being uncomfortable, then go and just take a job. And I don't say that as a looking down the nose or shaming, right? It's like there's a lot of great work to be done and a lot of companies that need really great people to come in and work. But to be an entrepreneur and out there, you're always going to go through phases of being comfortable, learning how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because even once you become successful and the money starts coming in, a new set of problems come. And then your challenges get bigger, right? Your asks get bigger. Your prices get bigger. Like everything, there's like the new set of challenges that comes down the road with it. And so it's really about like being willing to take action and just have the courage to go like, well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to, do this as well as I can. The great news is that you're always going to get better at it as you just keep working it.
Right. That's such an awesome attitude. Thank you for sharing that, Jason. If you just go into it with this attitude of just charging forward and knowing that whatever's going to happen happens, and it's going to be great because you're going to learn either way.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen that is new. You might not know the thing that is going to happen, and it might be something that you want to have happen or not. But either way, it might take you in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
That you had never even thought of.
Yeah. Yeah. Being
really
open.
Cool when that happens. Yeah.
Remind me of an experience I had. So I had at that one point in my life, I had a wild hair idea that everything in reality TV was so bad that I thought I could make something that could compete. And so I actually got I got a bunch of people together. I've studied digital video arts. I've done some filmmaking study. I'm in no means a professional filmmaker. I'm still very amateur. But I got a lot of so I gathered. I had a network of people I could pull together, and so we created a sizzle reel for this idea we had for a reality TV show. And I actually, thanks to a connection I had with the local Fox station, I got a meeting with Fox in Los Angeles to film my show. And I was so worked up going into that. I was so afraid, like, oh my gosh. I mean, I knew people that were professionals and struggled to get a pitch meeting, and I'm nobody. I don't even have a business card for a production company. I just have a big idea and I'm like, who do you know? Right. And so I thought, I can't go into this this worked up. Like, what if it doesn't go well? And what if they say no? And, all that stuff that goes through your head when you think like, oh, this could be a crucible moment. This could totally change things for me, both for the positive or negative with all that.
Psych yourself out.
The reality of it is you and I both know it's just a meeting. It's just a meeting. And whatever happens in this meeting is going to tell me what to do next.
Yeah.
And it'll be great if he's like, oh, I love this idea. Here's $1 million. Let's go make your show. Yes. I mean, that would have been great. But in order to let it all go, I just decided like from now on, I'm going to treat every meeting and everything the same and treat it in this way. Whatever comes out of this, I have my intention. My intention is that they love the deal and then we were going to go create something together. However, and I'm going to go into that meeting accepting whatever outcome I get, and that'll inform me as to what to do next. So if it's a no, well, then find someone else to pitch, or go back and retool it, or drop the project and do something else. But it's like you'll always be informed as to what there is to do next. And I brought that even into my sales so that I don't get worked up about sales meetings. So I can just be like, this is just part of my job, because we do sales meetings all the time, but I still seem want to get worked up about them, right?
Right. And if nothing else, it's the experience that you learn of the interview with Fox, whether or not you get it. I mean, that's amazing.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Yeah, there's so many people could. I wish you would have gotten it on there and look at the reality TV there.
It would have been fun, and who knows? It may have been as bad as the rest of the slate that was out or whatever. But,
I doubt that.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun creating it. It was an amazing experience, and it was also like what it really showed me, and what I really hope that it shows. Because I don't share this with you and the people in your group, so I can be like, hey, look how cool I am. I got a meeting with Fox, right? But really, like, look at what is your relationship to what's possible, right? I could have easily said, there's no possible way I get a pitch meeting. Why would I even try this? Why would they talk to me? I'd have 1,000 reasons why they wouldn't talk to me. Versus like, why not? Why not me? Why not? Let's, and just kind of like be the fool in that way, not in a negative, like, idiot way, but be willing to take the leap, and say, well, why not? Let's try it and see what happens and get out there. Cause that's when you have the amazing stories of, and then this happened and we didn't think it, holy cow. And now we're on this amazing adventure because we're pushing on the limits of what we think is possible versus just like making up our minds at the very beginning. Cause that'll just make us really small.
Yeah. It's just so much about your mind game, isn't it?
Oh, it totally is.
It's amazing. If you just relax and open that up and just say, whatever, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah, because what I've learned about people, just people in general, is that people really want to help you. Even people you've never met. If you stop somebody on the street and say, I've got to get home, they would stop and take lots of time to help you find it. And they don't even know you. People in general want to help you achieve what you want. But in our heads, if we're like, oh, well, nobody, I'm always getting kicked around.
Yeah. You know what I love you said earlier is this whole idea of going into it, going, why me? I don't have any of this. So many people go into speaking that way when they stand up to speak instead of, this sense of being equal, like you had said, peer to peer. They're not elevated above you. You're not elevated above them. It's just someone talking to someone else and the sense of why not you?
Right.
You can change these people's lives. You don't have to be the best person at the world at this. You don't have to know or be the greatest expert on it to be a good speaker.
Yes, that's totally true. Yeah, just you be authentic, be real. That's what people connect to. Not really smooth talking people. That puts people to sleep.
Right.
Like
so
what
other things around reaching that cap, that 6-figure mark, would you want to add on related to either marketing or some other technique?
All right. So we talked about like niching, about like really narrowing down. The other, since we don't have a lot of time, I'll say the other big one is sales avoidance. Just not spending enough time. If you are not earning 6 figures in your business and you're spending, if you're not spending at least 50% of your time out hustling new business in one way or another, you are likely not going to get there. Barring getting connected to someone who plugs you into a giant network that just flows to you, which does happen. That's how a lot of people find their niche. It's kind of by accident. Somebody falls in love with them. They connect them with a whole bunch of people in a specific industry or area, and boom, then they become niched. And then the business just comes and it just kind of rolls from there. But it's like really, it's about at least 50% of your time out hustling and, just making it happen, just growing, getting out there, meeting people, connecting with people, being strategic. Don't go to networking meetings where it's like your audience isn't in the room. If you're selling to executives, going to general chamber networking meetings, they probably aren't going to be there. Unless you have a mission. Oh, I'm going to go there and find an advocate to make an introduction. Okay, that's a mission. But just going and otherwise you're just socializing.
Right. And then one last point on selling before I ask you the fun question. Yeah. Selling tends to have such a negative connotation in so many people's minds.
Yeah.
Selling isn't selling like it used to be. You don't really need to sell anymore. You just build relationships. You listen to what people need, and you find out if what you have can serve them and meet that need. And that's all it is. It's just building this relationship. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So if you're having difficulty with people with like basically not closing any sales, it could be because it's not because you're not salesy enough or that it could be that you're not asking for the business, because a lot of people beat around the bush and don't just get to it and ask, should we move forward? Should we work together? Should we get this started? Should we begin? There's at some point where you're either like going to start working together or they're going to move on and you're going to move on. It's really like that's what's going to happen in that specific situation in that conversation. And if you know that your work solves a problem and it solves the problem of the person across from you, it's just a matter of your ability to convey your value to them. And so to speak to that, I would leave one tip, and this is really, really huge. And that is, remember that when someone comes to meet with you, they're not coming to meet with you to find out if you're an expert or not. They've already established that, or they wouldn't be spending their time with you. You are already the expert in their eyes. It's just a matter of finding out if your solution is a really good fit for their problem. And if so, how can we work together? Can we come to terms? Can you, if it's a high priced item, can you find the money? Like, how is that all going to really work together? It's like so many of us come into a sales meeting and just be like, okay, well, let me tell you how awesome I am, and I'm really good at this, and I have a lot of experience. It's like, you don't need to go there. That's what got that meeting in the first place. That's
another great mindset piece that you guys take that away. Take these golden nuggets. When someone meets you, you're already the expert. You don't have to try and convince them.
Yes.
So let me do this as we wrap up. What is something about you, maybe little Jason, that people don't know, or something that you did, or something you wouldn't say to most people, or that you haven't, that you could say out here in public?
Oh, wow. Something that I haven't said before. Well, I have, so one really fun project that happened for me out of the blue. There is an artist that produces house techno music in Australia. His name is Carpe Diem, K-A-R-P-E-D, capital D, capital M, Carpe Diem. And he's pretty popular because he's got a lot of songs that he posts up on YouTube. And he's got a lot of songs on YouTube with quite a few, like into tens of thousands of hits on it. And he hired me to do the voiceover for this song. So it turned out when he got done and he processed it all up and everything like that, it was really cool. And mine was the only vocal in the song. So
oh, wow.
Is that
out in Australia?
It's it's on YouTube. You can find it.
Oh, okay.
And
how do you find it? Let me write it down. If they were to Google it on YouTube, what would they write?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the exact name of the song.
Carpe Diem, like this.
You know what I'm saying? This is I'm blanking on my own song.
Is it K-A-R-P-E-D-M?
Yes.
Okay. So we can search around there, and you can let us know the name of the song in the group. That sounds so exciting.
Yes, I will.
That's fun. Yeah. So you're quite the voice guy.
I'll just post the link to the song in the group.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So any last words you want to share?
Want to do some like hard techno house dance.
Here's how to make 6 figures. Oh, I'm so bad at that.
Right. The richest.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there any last words you want to leave with people with today?
Oh, my pleasure. It was really, really great. Really nothing else. I mean, all these topics we talked about, we could go on and on and on.
I know.
Lots and lots of episodes on these. And, I'm just really committed to helping people have the lifestyle that they want and really deserve for, having the guts to go out on their own and say that they can do it. And usually they can with the right tools. That makes all the difference in the world. So,
yeah. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you?
I'm really easy to find. They can just, search up the coaching hour. I'm in the group, so you can, tag my name and you'll find me on Facebook. I'm in a lot of places on there. And also, I really want to encourage everybody I have so much free resources that are available that can support your business. And my site and things there's even videos you can watch that doesn't involve showing up at a certain time. So it's all can be found at thecoachinghour.com. So I really invite you to join the community.
There you go. Awesome. And on that note, well, thank you again, Jason, and hope you guys got a lot out of this. I know I did. And have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. This is great.
Awesome. Thank you.